good to be with you today, as always. Last time we talked about de-escalating the mind as your secret sauce for happiness. I didn't use those words. I was talking about how the mind keeps us from the experience of belonging. And today I would like to talk about one thing that you can probably connect to further take you into the experience of joy, causeless joy, not the joy of getting the thing you've wanted, but just the percolating of the absence of suffering, the kindness and the juiciness of life, the just what isness. The mind can help you with the past. It can help you with memory. If you think you use your memory for the good times, maybe you'd like to catalog it and make a spreadsheet and see how much your mind brings up ways you were incompetent, insufficient, not good enough, didn't measure up, could have done better. Let's see, what else does it do? It reminds you or compares you about someone else who did it better. Mind is very good at that. The mind is also very good at the future. It will tell you where you want to go. It will tell you what you'd like to get. It will tell you how the future is going to be. Often it will tell you about what you need to avoid and predicting a lot of bad things, what could happen in this situation, how that person is unsafe, and how you probably don't belong here or there, or just catalog it. Make up your own spreadsheet. I've never heard anyone say they were happy in the future. We can bring up happy memories of the past, but often it ends up with, it used to be, but no more. So often the past ends up hurting us. Thoughts about the past end up hurting us because we're not young like that anymore. We don't look like that anymore. We should have done it differently, and so on. But the one place the mind has no real power is in the now. Even in observation, what observes is actually a step beyond the mind. The mind knows what you're doing, you're talking, you're judging, but there's something deeper that watches that's not a part of that. We've been trained, we've been raised to believe in our minds, to make our minds almost a God, because we can achieve a great deal with our minds out in the world. But think of the ocean. There's the sand, there's the surf, And then there are the pauses between the waves. And the surf is kind of like the outer world. And your mind is very busy and helpful in that outer world. And then there's that calm in between the waves. And that's the letting go of the mind. That's the letting go of even feelings. And that's the mind being a tool where we can kindly notice what are the subjects that are keeping us from the real you that is underneath the personality, underneath the body, underneath the mind, your essence. And let's call your essence the entire ocean, not what's happening in any particular moment in the sense of whether the surf is rough or calm, and whether there are longer spaces between them. One of the essential ingredients I have found to making my mind more of a friendly tool that steps out of the way for me is to notice what my troublesome subjects are. Because I was an obese child, if I get back into good food, bad food topics, measuring food, looking at my body to see out of fear if I'm gaining weight, or some being attracted to anything that's of that ilk. Even glancing in the mirror in a certain way is a residue of getting on a scale, which I gave up probably 20 years ago or more, maybe 30. But if I look in the mirror a certain way to see if that skirt still fits, it's a residue. All of those subjects, can you see, are metaphors, are symbols of unworthiness, of fear, of not belonging, of hurtful subjects. Now, if your subject is money, what are the subjects you need to get onto to keep you out of the gridlock, out of the looping thoughts and feelings that are going to take you down? We're not talking about action here. We're not talking about what I eat or what I don't eat, or whether you pay your bills or you don't pay your bills. Those things will happen just as being an adult. They don't need your mind to say, go over which bills aren't paid and which bills make you a bad person. Notice if you're looping. If you're looping with your bank account, that's your hurtful subject. If you loop about using your mind, you have to understand this is the mind acting as the jailer. If it brings up the subject of what you did with your daughter or your husband or your wife or your lover or your son or your friend, and it's bringing it up in a looping, meaning repetitive fashion, that's your hurtful subject. This is not a bypass. You have to first notice how you feel in order for it not to be a bypass. For me, I notice either a yay or a nay about my weight. Yay means I'm still safe, I'm still slim. Nay means, oops, the skirt is getting tight. Both of those are not useful to me. Why? You might say, well, if I notice that the skirt is tight, isn't that useful? For me, no, because if I were rational on this subject, I would probably start eating better. Better meaning not the foods that are going to make the skirt tighter if I'm going to care about the skirt. But when one decides to, and this is the mind, if you agree and allow the thoughts to go that are hurtful, that world of being afraid of food is not my friend. Someone else can say, oops, too many martinis, too much wine, too much cake. Good, I'll step back. I'm not saying it's the same for everyone. But what I am saying is figure out what it is for you. What are the ways that your mind keeps you from freedom? Freedom is the letting go of the mind. There is a place in the now where thoughts don't reign, feelings don't reign, just the isness of the moment. And that letting go of the personality, the getting, the doing, the acquiring, the fixing leads to so much energy and kindness and expansiveness. And I want that for you too. So you can be your own guru in the sense of knowing what your subjects are. If you go to the wisest person in the world, unless they're telepathic or you've talked a lot, they don't know your subjects that you are using to keep you in jail. So it's not just staying away from the subject, it's first acknowledging how the subject is hurting you, putting a word, oh, that's pain, oh, that's imagined unworthiness, that's assumed, what's the word I'm looking for? Guilt, believed guilt, perceived guilt. I love that because you don't actually know the bigger picture of right or wrong. You only know what you think. So I will leave you with that to keep this video short. To be continued. Bye for now.